Are you a CBO serving diverse communities in Oregon and interested in applying for OHA's new Health Equity Grant? I think you should be. There's over 200 awards available, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you some grant proposal writing tips and tricks so that you give yourself and your organization the best chance of winning these funds for your community. My first tip is to recognize and respect the difference between being compliant and responsive. So, what does it mean to be compliant? Essentially, that means that you meet all the minimum criteria to even be considered as an applicant. Think of it like a tick box exercise where you need to have all your boxes ticked before the assessors even go through scoring your proposal. For this particular grant, that means that you must be a non-profit or working through a fiscal sponsor, and you must have certification to prove that. Being compliant is crucial before you spend any time applying to a grant. It saves you time if you're not qualified, and it ensures that you don't get any nasty surprises once you've submitted your grant, but you forgot to include a form or two. So, what can you do about that? Well, a lot of proposal writers use a checklist. We call it a compliance checklist. And essentially, you want to go through the request for proposals. And I found that ChatGPT actually is very helpful with this and say, what is the established minimum criteria that I need for this grant? Write it down or get ChatGPT to write it down. And whenever you're creating your strategy to apply, tick the boxes to ensure that you have the minimum criteria. If you miss one of those boxes, then you might want to reconsider if it's worth applying or if you should partner with an organization that's able to assist you. Now, what does it mean to be responsive? Well, think of it this way. The most responsive organizations are the most likely to win the award. They are those that the evaluators believe have the closest proposal, the closest outcomes, and the closest idea to achieving the goal of the grant proposal. So, for example, this grant proposal is to advance health equity in diverse communities in Oregon. If I applied to advance health equity in my Irish community of New York, I wouldn't win because New York is not in Oregon. If I applied to raise awareness of the benefits of investing in Bitcoin in Klamath Falls, I wouldn't win either because I'm not advancing health equity in Klamath Falls. However, if I was applying to increase awareness about the ills and dangers of tobacco misuse in Klamath Falls amongst refugee or immigrant communities, according to this particular grant request for grant proposals, I would stand a chance because I am helping advance what the grant proposal wants me to advance in a relevant community in a relevant way. So you need to think about that when you're applying. Think about how can you be maximally responsive to this request for grant proposals? And that means you have to read through the request for grant proposals. Again, I recommend using ChatGPT for help on this. You can't rely on it all the time, but you can just upload the request, tell it, tell me what I need to know, tell it a little bit more about your organization, and get it to suggest grant proposals for you. I know that there is a lot of fear and trepidation out there at the moment about how health equity is treated and funded by the federal government. I was listening into OHA's information session, and they openly stated that the purpose of this proposal is to advance health equity. They don't want you to be afraid to apply because of what's going on in the federal level, and I think they encourage you to apply and really try and advance health equity in your community. So just as an aside on that point, don't be scared. This proposal is out there for you to make a difference in your community, and OHA are encouraging you to apply under the sort of terms and the goals of the request for grant proposals. My second tip is don't do this solo. So when I was starting out writing grant proposals, I view myself as a bit of an auteur, which is someone that is the director of a film, the executive producer, the writer, and basically does everything on the film set. That wasn't a great approach because I was writing things that I thought that were great from my perspective, But then whenever I showed them to a teammate, they said that doesn't really fit and that's not really responsive. This is particularly important when it comes to getting spelling, punctuation, and grammar wrong. You can look at your own writing for hours and not notice it a problem. If you look at someone else's for a couple of minutes, you can see where the errors are. So bring in team members, bring in subject matter experts. So people that are working in your organization, your community, and are able to speak to certain topics. And let's say you have 4 people. I'm going to identify 4 key roles for you. The first is what we would call the bid director. So that's someone that devises the overall strategy. Maybe it's the executive director, maybe it's someone else in leadership, and says, this is what I believe our proposal should be. This is the subset of our community it's going to serve. This is the program that we're going to implement. And this is how it aligns with our goals and with the request for grant proposals goals as well. They would then hand that down to a proposal writer who is going to connect with subject matter experts, ask them about the topics that are related to their area of the strategy, bring that in and get some words on the page or the doc to kick things off. You have those subject matter experts who, as I said, are in the know and able to provide strong facts and figures to back up your ideas. And then you've got kind of auxiliary positions. So some people use graphic designers to make it look pretty. I don't think that's too essential for this one. Just, format it right. You don't need to have a complete sort of design concept. And then there's proofreaders. So people that go through and check everything's correct and give their input. This is a team effort. So ensure that you involve your team in writing this proposal. Finally, be different. So there was about 140 organizations on the information session that we attended a few days ago. And as I said, there's over 200 awards. So there is a lot up for grabs here in terms of opportunities. That said, organizations can win multiple awards. All these grants are competitive, and we've found in the past, whenever we write something, if we come in with a clear solution to the problem identified, and particularly one that's innovative and utilizes something a little bit different, be that hiring for a new role, be that engaging people in a different way, engaging a new community, implementing new technologies, evaluators like that, they think that it shows that you're bringing something new to an ongoing problem, and we know a lot of these equity-based problems are systemic and long-lasting. I think it gives people hope that there's new things coming out that can be used to solve society's ills. So, in summary, recognize the difference between being compliant and responsive, and be both compliant and responsive. Engage and use your team in the grant writing proposal process. And thirdly, be different. So try something innovative, something new, and really make yourself stand out from other proposals and maybe grants that you've lost in the past. If you want help being different, let me know. So at AppleChat, as I mentioned, we specialize in producing public communication campaigns and novel web app solutions that your actual community can visit, gather resources on, log into, engage with your staff on, access local services. Really kind of dynamic and engaging experiences can be provided through our tools. We'd love to subcontract for you and deliver our tools on your grant proposal. And if you're interested in doing that, you can just click on the link somewhere around this video to engage with me and learn more about what we do. If you don't want to do that, then please do reach out to me if you want any support in your grant writing proposal journey. Happy to give free advice, no strings attached, to try and encourage and improve your CBO's chance of winning this proposal. And if there's any other way that you think our organization can help, let us know, and we're happy to consider how we can do that on a pro bono basis. We're really about supporting health equity and rising the tide to lift the boats of various CPOs like you that serve communities in Oregon and beyond. So thanks again for watching this, and thank you for what you do for your community in these trying times.